once littered with thousands of the dead and dying. The blood-soaked ground of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania might just be the most haunted place in America.
There's something here that's unexplainable.
From chilling forensic evidence and shocking photographs of full-body apparitions.
I looked at it and I just went, oh my God, you got it.
To a psychic encounter with a dead soldier. We'll join a team of ghost hunters for an eerie investigation of America's most famous battleground. On mysterious journeys, haunted Gettysburg. For over 100 years, the small town of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, has been flooded by reports of paranormal activity.
People who want to investigate the paranormal, people who are into the paranormal, people who just want to see a ghost, they come here to Gettysburg.
From phantom cries of wounded soldiers to lifelike apparitions, nearly everyone who's been to Gettysburg has been touched by its otherworldly aura.
People who have never experienced anything in their lives will write me letters and say, here's what happened to me on the Gettysburg battlefield.
But how did this small farming community become a paranormal mecca? Many believe it's still haunted by the violent bloodshed that ripped through its streets during 3 of the most terrifying days in American history.
You have 2 huge armies, Confederate 75,000, Union soldiers 97,000. They're going to bump into each other somewhere.
The Army's accidental meeting at Gettysburg on July 1st, 1863, turned into a 3-day bloodbath that would change history forever.
The entire property was littered with dying and wounded soldiers. They actually say that the water ran red across the street.
When the cannon smoke cleared, the Union soldiers had won. But nearly 5,000 horses and 50,000 men lay dead or dying. It was the bloodiest battle ever fought on American soil, with more U.S. soldiers dying in 3 days than in the entire Vietnam War.
They didn't fight for 3 days straight. They fought for about 24 hours. 51,000 casualties, 24 hours. That boils down to a man getting shot every 2 seconds. So every 2 seconds, a man was getting hit. You can imagine how horrible it was just even being around this place.
Five months after the battle, Abraham Lincoln tried to restore peace in Gettysburg. He had the fallen Union soldiers reburied in a new national cemetery and honored them with the famous Gettysburg Address. But many of the Confederates never got a proper burial, their bodies left to rot in the fields. Now, more than 14 decades after the battle, these unsettled spirits might still lurk in Gettysburg.
They look in and see this gentleman, mortally wounded, passing away, being attended to by 2 other soldiers.
But some of the eeriest sightings have happened at this Gettysburg landmark.
Right now we're in the grounds of the Gettysburg and Northern Railroad, right near the engine house.
Although the engine house itself was built only recently, it stands on one of Gettysburg's bloodiest and most tragic battlegrounds. Here, on day 1 of the battle, a small group of Union soldiers tried to hold the Confederates at bay, buying time for their retreating comrades.
The Union Army 16th Maine held out as long as they possibly could. The men were being shot down. The Confederates were surrounding them.
The Union soldiers knew they were doomed, but vowed to keep the Confederates from capturing their flag as a trophy.
Colors!
They tore it into pieces and hid it in their uniforms, unwilling to surrender. Today, the employees who work at the engine house say the soldiers are still fighting on. supervisor Sam Beislein believes he came face to face with one of these unsettled spirits.
I'm here by myself. I heard the door between the shop and the office open up and close. About 7 seconds later, I heard footsteps come up the steps and walk down through the center of the coach and stop right there like somebody was looking at me.
When Sam went to investigate further, he saw nothing. All he heard was an eerie silence.
I know that the ground is a very sacred place, and I just thought, why did it have to happen to me just to scare me? But I guess that's what was just more of a reality check to say, hey, we are present, and they are present here in the shop.
According to the paranormal investigation team known as the Ghosts of Gettysburg, the engine house is one of the most haunted spots in town.
On our team, we have several people who are very, very knowledgeable about the paranormal. Scott Crownover is the techie. Lane Crosby is an investigative medium. Carol, my wife, who is the facilitator, does the groundwork.
Mark's specialty is electronic voice phenomena, or EVP, a way of capturing the eerie voices of the dead.
I'll ask a question, pertinent question, and pause. And sometimes it takes a while, but almost invariably I'll get some answers to some interesting questions.
But what Mark was able to record on an investigation of the engine house blew him away.
Show your face.
Mark and psychic Rob Conover allegedly made contact with the spirit of a Civil War priest who was crossing over to heaven.
We were in this engine house right at this spot when I got the EVP of the priest calling for heaven.
God forgive you, you know that.
Rob got to a point where he said, cross over, go to the light, move on, and all of a sudden you hear a voice go, heaven.
You almost hear your microphone the right way around. Walk through that light.
Was this eerie recording a voice from beyond? Coming up, science confirms a psychic's vision. And later, a shocking photograph turns Gettysburg's ghost world upside down.
That's almost the holy grail that we've been looking for.
For many, the Battle of Gettysburg is the perfect storm for ghostly activity. Mass numbers of young soldiers suffering a ghastly and violent death. But perhaps no other place in Gettysburg saw more horror than the Daniel Lady Farm.